Muted still. There you go. How exciting.
Oh God, you put me on the spot.
Oh dear. Yeah, I love it.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
okay.
I know. You see, there are certain people that could deal with it and certain people that can't.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm here. There's nothing I can do about it, so I'm just going to be here.
Well,
What the fuck?
it's pushing you slightly out of your comfort zone, isn't it?
It's pushing me into my discomfort.
Ah, excellent.
Yes.
Oh dear. I don't know where Nicholas is. I don't know, bloody French. He's probably burning some sheep somewhere.
I know. Oh.
In that
Yeah.
in that Ego is the Enemy book, there's this thing about Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan.
Yeah, and like, so until I read anything about him, you sort of hear about him being the Mongols and the hordes ravaging and pillaging across Russia and Asia and all the rest of it. But apparently the reason he was so successful were two critical things. First is whenever he went to a new territory and he came up against something he didn't know, he learned about that and incorporated it into his own system. And he always promoted philosophers, poets, artists, teachers in the places he'd conquered, so that the social cohesion of life, which is through the arts, was always strong and the culture remained strong, but under his command, so that even when he died, the dynasty remained. So, yeah.
He was a really, I mean, he was, you know, so there's a program on Netflix, Marco Polo, which is all about Genghis Khan. And Marco Polo's, it's a story. I don't know if it's a true story, but it does really portray him as both, as not great and as an amazing, amazing leader. And his internal struggles with people that were, you know, not good. Absolutely not good. So, you know, so it really is an interesting aspect of with Genghis Khan. You know, and I think there's nobody, you know, like when you read in my book, I had to realize that my mother was both my mother, who was loving, and my mother was also a bloody narcissist. You know, she was both. And
do you know what?
What can you do? You have to accept that, and you have to be able to look for the good part, you know, and take and say, okay, that's what was the lesson I learned.
This is it. There's Anthony Robbins thing I've got on his Date to Destiny or Date with Destiny seminar, 6-day seminar, 12 hours a day. And in one of the early ones, he goes, listen, if my mother had been the mother I'd wanted to be, I wouldn't be the man I'm proud to be now. Because she beat the shit out of him when he tried to go to college, you know, throwing him downstairs, grabbing him by the hair, spitting on him, sabotaging his college applications, all sorts of shit. And you go, wow. And it was all because he had been her main source, connection with the outside world, feeding her drug habit and all sorts of other things. And the idea of him going so she'd have to face everything came out in extreme violence. So where is Nicholas? Let's message him.
Yeah, it is interesting, but you know, and that is the key. We have to find a way to resolve that trauma, and to be able to, you know, it was so interesting when my friend, after I'd written the book, she said to me, you know, you still get really emotional when you talk about that book. And I said, yeah. And then she said, well, let's just talk about what goes on. And actually, while I was talking to her, she said something, you need to understand your mother's point of view. I said, fuck my mother. It was the first time I'd ever said that.
Right.
The first time I thought, I am not going to just accept that I have to accept my mother in the way that she is. I'm ready. All I've done is lived my life thinking about poor mother instead of really looking and going, well, where do I fit here? You know, where do I fit? And where do I fit did not mean I was being egocentric.
No.
but that was it. You see, it was really kind of understanding that just by saying that I matter, did not invalidate her.
No.
Until I had learned that skill, until I understood that on a deep level, I was still invalidating me because I thought if I validated me, I was invalidating her.
I think that's what's interesting about that is I did a post, I don't know if I published it yet, but about a book called Think Again. And in that book, he talks about something which the moment I read it down or read it out, I went, that's the entire world at the moment. And it's binary bias.
Yeah, it's binary bias. Yeah.
So this is all around the world in politics, in every situation. It's bing, bing, bing. And this polarized attitude is baked into everything now. So, yeah.
Well, we live in just by the fact that we're in this body, we're in a duality world. That's the problem. We're in a duality, and we're actually disconnected from a deeper truth, which is the source. The source is what sits in all of us, and that's energy of some form, or the information, or whatever that is. But for me, I call that God. All right, for me, that's God. But when because we're in this, we have this perception of separateness. We can't acknowledge what God is because we've made God masculine or we've made God feminine, and we don't understand that we are. We are God. And when we can do that, and that's where we have a lot of this thing. And I've realized that imposter syndrome for me is, I've had throughout my life being told I was God, but throughout my life, I had this duality that if I was God, that would mean that everybody else would, kind of like be in, maybe that's me superior or whatever. But even when I told people about them, they thought, no, that's arrogance. Instead of, because I didn't understand then what it was about.
Right. It's only with
hindsight. I didn't understand. Yeah. But now that I can really congruently know, it's almost like, well, what would it be like if you could just shine like God? And and it's interesting, I keep putting on my clothes inside out. And I keep thinking, what the hell is going on? And really, the message is the inside must show. God is on the inside. So show the inside. Show your godliness. Show that.
Indeed. I tell you what, that's pretty deep. I am recording at the moment. Do you mind if I use this bit?
Oh, right. No, that's okay.
Cool. Well, how am I going to do it? I'm just going to